And as the year rolls around, well, as the year rolls around very quickly, we are going to be coming to the end of this year, believe it or not. We've only got less than 50 days before 2022, Rob, if you can believe it. What are you going to look back on when you look back on 2021? What do you think? As a real estate guy, what did 2021 mean for you?
You know what? 2021 was. I invested a lot of money back into the business in finding ways that people, how I can get your home marketed more, and we achieved it. We've been working on this every year for the last 15, 20 years, and like I said before, we're the second most Googled for real estate listings in Ontario for a team. So we're the second most. I wish I could say I'm the first, but there's somebody else out there, but they're nowhere. They're not in our area. But that is.
We'll get you there.
Sorry.
We'll get you there.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. And I just wanted to say this is the first time I'm announcing we just hit our milestone 1,000 transactions. And I just want to I can't believe that we hit that mark. We sold 1,000 homes this year so far. So we did it in 10 and a half months. And the thing is, I just want to say thank you to the clients out there that entrusted us in their business. I just want to say thank you to all the agents on my team that work with me. They work so hard, and it's just totally amazing. And also my support staff, I want to thank them. Without them, we couldn't achieve this milestone, and I am super, super happy with the team, the culture that we have, and I just appreciate everything that's been going on, and definitely we've been working hard, and so we're just going to keep going.
1,000 homes so far in 2021 and 10 and a half months. Now, compare that to 2019, 2018, before all of this other stuff happened. What kind of years were they compared to 2021?
We increased not only our support team, like our administrative support team. We increased it. I used to be more tight and just say, no, and what, we have to run a tight ship. But I found the more smart people I hire, the better my team runs. So that's the key factor. It's all about surrounding yourself around smart people, and you will achieve anything you want in the world as long as you have smart people around you. And I'll tell you, I read all the books and everything, but it is so true when it comes to operating a business. And the other key thing is just like my team. We were very selective on who we hire. We are so selective, and it's made a difference. So we actually doubled in size in the last 18 months as our team. Not only administratively, we actually have a support staff. We have for every let's say person that works with us, support staff, we have two agents. So every 2 agents, we have 1 support staff that helps them. So if we have 60 agents, we've got 30 people on support staff to help us out, and that's what is helping quite a bit. So I am truly blessed, and I'm truly thankful of everything that's happening, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's there've been so many things happening. It's really nice to hear the good news. So let's kind of bring it down a little bit. We talked about the year that was. How have the past, as we're heading into the middle of November, what's happening this week? Are things slowing down, speeding up? Tell me, as we head into the second half of November, how things are looking real estate wise right now.
So far, in the first 12, 13 days of November, sales are even stronger than previous months. So, and that's for us. So I'm shocked because October was probably our second best month of the year. And I don't know if November is going to be one of those big months, but yeah, no, it's just I can't believe that people are still looking and still buying and everything else like that. Like the weather's been pretty decent. You have to admit, like the weather has been pretty decent through the fall market so far, and I just can't believe how this real estate market's going. I have one of my best friends that I grew up with. I sold his house. He's looking for a house, and he's kind of like he's unsure. He's at the beginning stages of looking for a house, so he's got to find one. And I said to him, I go, look, there's two properties you're going to look for. I says, if you buy a property that needs a bit of work, and I told him, like, we're looking around the 1.4 to 1.5 range for a house. And I said, those properties, let's say if you find something, you may have to put, between 150 to 250,000 in, and you can get it the way you want. Now, if you do find the property that you love that has everything done, I said to him, there's going to be 10 other people is going to want that property also. So you're going to be bidding against those people. And he's going, really? And I go, yep. I go, and then you're going to be so upset that you're going to put an offer in and not get it. And I told him, you have to step it up when it comes to something like that. And so anyway, and I said to him, I go, look, you will know what house you want as soon as you walk in the front door. You're going to get that loving feeling. Like soon, like it just hits you. I said to him, I can't convince you to buy a house that is just simple, blah, 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 right? Like it's just nothing. You're not having that feeling. As soon as you walk in the front door, you will know, and that'll be the house. And I said to him, that because I know you, I will know also. And most agents they know their clients after they showed them probably about half a dozen houses, and they know exactly what they're looking for because every house they go through, they comment, I like this, I don't like this, I love this, I hate that. That's how we computerize everything, all that information into our head, and then when we walk into a house with a client, we register exactly what their likes and dislikes are. So that's how we'll know right away as soon as we walk into a front door. And I think he's getting kind of scared. His wife understands it. She gets it. She knows that whatever house they're going to buy, they're going to have to put money into, unless they buy a fully done house. But they're going to pay. They're going to pay serious dollars for it. And that's just the way the market is.
Speaking of which, there was a story that came out this week that will surprise some, not others. We all know that real estate affordability is a bit of an issue, but the National Bank of Canada came out with a report, and it said that it takes up to 36 years to save for a down payment. Now, let's break that down. Does that surprise you?
You know what? No, because like there's so many people out there that are trying to save for a down payment, and so let's say today they were saving for, let's say 5 years ago they started saving for a down payment. 5 years ago, houses almost doubled in the 5 to 7 years. So now that means they got to save even more to catch up to the market with the real estate. They got to save more, and it seems like they fall behind the 8 ball all the time. It's not like they're catching up. And I get it. They're paying high rent where they're living. The cost of living is expensive. They got car insurance, maintenance on the car, and then they have probably other debts, depending it's a school loan or whatever. It is tough out there to save money unless they get help from somebody. And there's people out there like they've given up on that hope. Once they hit their 50s, they say, what's the sense? What for? But I get it. It is tough. It is a lot tougher now than it was if you were entering the market in the mid 80s. Now, the late 80s, the market started going crazy, similar to what's happening now. Then the 90s, it kind of corrected itself. But different times. Those times are totally different than they are today. Today, I mean, we're fast-paced. We got more immigrants. We got less housing out there. That's why there's a crisis, and this shortage of homes in not only in the United States but in Canada. It's going to take a while before we can actually catch up. I mean, the only way they can catch up is if they close the borders for 2 to 5 years. Say, okay, listen, because these guys are buying houses, but it's going to hurt our economy. So what do you do? Do you have people upset with the housing crisis and everything else, or do we get the it's just you can't win. You just can't win. You just got to keep flowing and keep pushing through.
Do you worry? Do you worry, Rob? I mean, when somebody reads a stat like back in 2000, it took 64 months, about 5 years, to save up for a down payment for the average home in Canada. Right now in Toronto, it takes 330 months. That's 28 years. Do you worry that that's going to scare people away from the market, thinking, I'll never come up with that kind of money. I'm just not going to try?
Absolutely. You're gonna see some people saying, forget it, not even interested. I'll save money if I just so happen to have extra cash, and they change the system and down payment wise, maybe. But there is gonna be a spread between the people that can afford and can't afford houses in Canada, and it's sad. And but that's the reality of it. But I know the government is trying to do things in trying to help these people, but I don't know if they're doing enough. But like you said, look, Vancouver, 36 years to save, and it's tough to see that. And but yeah, you just got to save money, and things will change. I mean, things will change. So just keep saving. Don't get discouraged. Keep saving. And then one day you're going to wake up one morning and they're going to offer some incentives that are going to help people to buy a house, because that is the dream, because your house is your retirement. That's your retirement to live beyond in your senior years. So I think there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Just right now, we're just going through this. Now, all the news on the radio and TV and talk shows and everything, it's all about the real estate, how expensive real estate is, I get it. Like it's just, people just can't believe it. Like we just had one property that was listed for $1 million. We got, I think, 1.6 million for it. No, 1,160,000 more. We got $160,000 more on $1 million. We couldn't believe that people were willing to compete on $1 million home, but it totally amazing. And we were shocked at the price that it sold for. It's just incredible.
Now, are there places where it's not crazy? Are there places where you can look to in fairly big cities across the country where this is not happening? Are there others?
I would imagine, if you go way far north, less population, less demand, less people wanting, just in the northern area where it's very cold. But it's happening everywhere. It's happening in the East Coast. They never experienced multiple offers. Those got like houses on the East Coast. You can get an oceanfront house probably 3 years ago for $150,000. Like you could have like an acre on the oceanfront, but that's totally changed on the East Coast. Now it's those houses are going for $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Like it's just insane. I was talking to a friend of mine that works in Nova Scotia, and he told me, he says that he called down here and says we haven't experienced this. How do we deal with it? So we're helping those agents out there in the East Coast say, listen, this is how you handle multiple offers. This is how you deal with this and that, because they never dealt with that. And so everything has changed in this world, and we just got to adapt to the changes, and we'll survive. Like Canadians are very strong-willed people. We'll make it through. This is just a little chapter in everybody's life that we're going through that we're going to talk about in years down the road.
When we come back, we're still going to talk about higher values, but does that mean higher taxes? Does one necessarily follow the other? We'll also take you to, remember Eufy, urea formaldehyde. Remember all that stuff? Still out there. We're going to talk a little bit about that as we continue to give you all the information you need and all of the advice on the Golfi Real Estate Show when we come right back after this. And before the break, we were talking about how much it takes to save for a down payment these days. There are people talking about housing being just out of whack for anybody who has a low income. And there are people talking about affordable housing. Ontario is looking at a task force to look into affordable housing. How does that impact you in the real estate business, Rob, when you hear people talking about the need for more affordable housing?
It's just going to make it, I mean, they need to build more houses. And I know they're putting a task force together. I don't know what they can do to change things, because unless the government actually buys land, develops it, and sells the homes at a discounted price for people that can't afford high-priced houses, or just the way the property values go. But also, in saying that, I mean, those people can't get great prices on their house and then sell it and make high prices. I mean, it has to continue on to the next person. But the one thing is, I don't know how they're going to do it. I think the task force I think they want to put something together, but I don't think it's going to accomplish anything. It's just created a bunch of jobs for people to, research and do everything. And they're just going to find out that, in order to do it, they're going to have to do this, to buy land, and they're not going to buy land. They're not going to be developers. They can hire construction companies to build. I don't know. I don't know what the task force is going to do. It's just going to give them information and to tell the government that what we already know. There's nothing we can do about it unless they build apartment buildings, and the government is helping developers to build with incentives to build apartment buildings. But those apartment buildings, they're still going to be expensive to live in. The rentals are going to be expensive. If they build condos for people at affordable rates, it's not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that easy. I get it. They're putting a task force together because the public wants them to put this task force together to solve this problem, and it is going to be a difficult situation. Now, look at the couple that from Welland, Ontario. They're trying to get people to sign a petition, and they sold their house. I think it was in 2016, and they thought that was a good time to get out. Which was, I mean, at the time it was a good time to cash out. But then right after that, 2017, early 2017 came. Housing prices just soared within that year. So then anybody that bought in February, March, April, and in some parts of May, probably paid a little bit on the high side, but within 2 years we were back. The people made back their home value within 2 years. Now, look, did we expect in 2021 housing prices to even skyrocket even more than from 2017? We thought 2017 was expensive, but that even went up. So people that sold early, they're going to feel like, whoa, like we cashed out too early. We should have saved. We should have stuck it out. Like these people from Welland in 2016, they were saying that they're 5 years later, the couple never imagined that they would be spending 38% of their income on housing. So they're renting, obviously, and 30 to 38% of their income. So obviously they're on a pension plan. So their income is not going to be as high as somebody that is working. But that is tough. That's 38%. Now, do they have a vehicle? That's going to add up another 5%, 4% if they owe money on the car, repairs, maintenance, and everything else like that. So people that cashed out early, yeah, I could see the disappointment, and they're trying to find ways, and they want affordable housing, and they're doing it. They're doing a task force, but I don't know if it's going to solve any problems, to tell you the truth. It's going to be a tough situation, and they're trying everything they can to maybe they were trying to get back into the market. I don't know, but it's going to be tough to get back into this market if you got out of it a couple years ago.
All right, let's take on another issue, which is, the higher values for homes. Good news for people who own homes and are looking at selling them. Will it mean, though, that necessarily that the taxes are going to go up because the values are going up? Does one follow the other?
You know what? We're going to be I think, in for a surprise in the next couple years. because they're going to put the average sale prices in different areas, different neighborhoods. And you know how they raise our property taxes, 2%, 1%. I think we're in for a surprise coming up. So if you're building a brand new house, and it's worth $1 million or 1.2 million, you're going to pay $8,000 to $10,000 or more, depending on the area that you live in. But if you buy an existing house, let's say I bought a house 6 years ago, bungalow, built in the late 50s. I renovated it. It's beautiful, nice size lot, 100 by 150. I love it. Taxes are around 5,300, 5,400, right? So those older homes, their taxes are low because they've been increasing every year 2-3%, depending on what the increase is. But if you build a brand new house, if I built a brand new bungalow, I got just under 2,000 square foot bungalow. If I built a brand new bungalow on a brand new lot, in that the taxes would be probably $3,000 to $4,000 more than what I'm paying now. Just because it's brand new, they're going to reassess it. But the older ones, so sometimes it's actually good to buy an older house because your taxes are going to stay pretty lower for a while before you buy a brand new and build. You're gonna end up paying huge on the taxes, and I see that in brand new. People build custom homes and as soon as they get assessed and they get assessed 2 years later. So let's say your taxes are $10,000. And then 2 years later say, well, you owe us for 2 years. Now you got to write a check for $20,000 because you're 2 years behind already. And it takes them that long to figure it out. But I do feel that because of the pandemic and because of the housing prices gone up, a combination of the two, the government needs to get money somehow. And that's going to be one way. I truly think that our taxes will be going up in the next 2 to 3, 5 years. I do.
All right. Let's continue on that same course of conversation. Do you ever run into situations where people say, "I really love that house. I can afford that house. I can't afford the taxes"?
Absolutely. I've had struggles in selling a house because the taxes were too high. And the one thing people should do, always appeal your taxes, especially if it's high. You're fighting for your resale value on your property in the future. So fight for your taxes. I would appeal it all the time. Chip away at it. You have to do it every year almost. You have to chip away at it. They don't want you to go to the court and say, hey, listen, they try to make a deal with you. Are you okay if your taxes are this much? You say, okay. And then you just got to keep hold on it. You got to show other sales in the area that are similar to yours and this and that, and they're paying lower taxes. And you can go online. Most city and towns websites, you can actually see what your neighbors are paying for taxes and all that. So always fight for your taxes. I'm telling you, people, if you just let it go and just pay it every year, and yeah, maybe you can afford it, not a problem. But there's going to be the one day when you put it up for sale and your taxes are the most expensive on the street. Your dollar value for resale is not going to be as high because people are going to go, well, listen, I'm going to have to pay that much in taxes. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't, and even if the resale, it doesn't even matter what the resale is because the taxes never go down. They always go up. And that's something you have to pay every year. You eventually you pay your house off, but you still got to pay for your taxes. And remember, when you pay your taxes, let's say your taxes are $10,000 a year. Well, you got to earn $20,000 to pay the taxes of $10,000. So you have to have good liquid income to pay for that. And I tell people, fight for your taxes. Fight it because it'll help you on the resale down the road. And just appeal it. Always just appeal it. And I think you can go on websites and there's companies that will appeal it for you. It's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth appealing your taxes. We had one house that we were asking. This is years ago, and their taxes were like $10,000-$12,000. It was, and the house price was like $550,000. It seems like a lot of money for taxes for a house in that price point. Now, this was years ago. This was probably 10 years ago. Tim, I don't know. We struggled in selling that house, and the square footage was high. The house was dated. So somebody had to go in and update the house and put money into it, and plus pay high taxes. And I said to the guy, I said, you should have appealed your taxes every year. Like, I mean, you're the most expensive house in the neighborhood. I mean, not expensive, but most expensive in taxes. And we struggled. That house struggled to sell. And so taxes are very, very important on the resale. So just appeal it. People that have houses on the lake, they're kind of expected. It's kind of like a given. Yeah, I know taxes are going to be expensive, so they're kind of a given, but I would still fight it. Fight it as much as you can. Appeal it all the time. And
all
then,
right.
yeah.
Let's get back to a subject that we haven't talked about in a few weeks on this show, but we should continue to look at, which is which types of houses are hot right now for people who are looking at them in the market, for people who are thinking about selling their homes. A little while ago, you said, the mid-price homes, the ones, between 3 and 6, they were the ones that were selling the hottest. Is that the same right now? Are luxury homes picking up steam? Where's the hot market right now?
Yeah, luxury homes have been really good this year, like the entire year. Like it's been, the over 2 million, 1.5 million, the $3 million mark. All the people came out and started buying them, and they've been hot commodities this year. And it's still going, and then you got the mid market where like 800 to a million. That's kind of your average house price. Like if you're looking for a 2,400 square foot, 3-4 bedroom house, 24 to 2,700 square foot, 3-4 bedroom house, double car garage, you're looking at 800 to $1 million for that house, and that's kind of like what people are expected to pay. If you have a family. So I mean, it's getting up there, and then the lower range, anything under 700 is moving like hotcakes, and which is hard to find almost. Like if you see a house that's up for 400,000 or 500,000, it's gone instantly, and there's probably 10 offers on that property. So that's
what I wanted to ask. That's where you hear about, you put your house up for sale, it'll be gone in a week. Those are the ones, just under the 7 range.
Oh yeah. Hot commodity. There's more buyers in that price range than anything you could imagine, and people are buying them. And even if they need to be fixed, they'll say, we'll fix it next year. We'll do this. We'll take our time and fix it slowly. So you got to be very, very careful.
So if I'm buying, do I look now, or should I wait until after Christmas when the market cools a little bit? I don't know.
I would buy right now, because I'll tell you, in the new year, we're going to see another spike. And right now,
really?
Yeah, I would buy right now. November, December is a great month to buy, even though the inventory is little, but the buyer pool is little also. But the prices, they kind of hang on a little bit. They just kind of floating, and they're not moving up. This is the time to buy, and because in the new year, you're going to see another 3 to 5% increase, maybe even more. But you're going to see that. So right now, you're just get out there, find something. Hopefully it does work out for you, for your taste of whatever house you're looking for, style and type. Get it and buy it now. Even if close it in the new year, close it. Like we're selling houses now today, and they're closing in February, March, April. So don't be afraid to put something down on now and close in 2-3 months from now. So we're getting that a lot right now. So, but buy right now. I'm telling you, this is the best time of the year to buy.
And if you're thinking of selling, if you'd like an instant home estimate, you're not quite sure what it's worth, you can go to golfihomevalue.com, and it's a great app that you can just put in your address and some particulars, and it'll give you a rough estimate of what your house is worth, so you can go from there and then listen to this program next week and find out where the hot markets are. Tell you what, we're going to take a break. We'll come right back with a whole lot more on the Golfi Real Estate Show after this. Some malls have seen some of their clients move out. Some malls are, trying to kind of change up how they rent to clients. How about the idea of living at a mall? And now I know a lot of people are going, I'd live at a mall. I could go shopping every day of my life. How far-fetched is that, and where is this coming from, Rob?
I think it's going to be the future, and it's coming from because the malls are struggling right now. They're losing a lot of tenants, and they need to do something to deal with that land because these malls are in urban areas, and they're losing clients. People aren't going to the malls as much, and because we've been conditioned to buy online right now, so these companies like Cadillac Fairview and whoever else owns all these big shopping malls across Canada and the United States, they need to do something. So remember in the old days, things started off with the downtown. The downtown was the main hub. Everybody would go there to buy everything. Then from downtown, we went to the shopping mall, right? So they built these big shopping malls. Everybody kind of didn't go to the downtown as much anymore. They went to the shopping malls. Well, the shopping malls had their time. But now we have the big box stores. What do you call those places that have all that? Like there's one on Glendale as you're going towards Niagara Falls on the right side there as you're driving towards there.
Are you talking about the outlet mall?
The outlet mall. So the outlet malls came in, and so the outlet malls killed the shopping malls. Now. Right now, the shopping malls right now they're not getting people to come out. So and shopping malls are very expensive in rent, and so people can't afford to pay that rent anymore. And the shopping malls took the biggest beating in this pandemic in the past 18 months. Now they lost a lot of the clientele that would show up at the shopping mall, because people got conditioned to buy online. They want you buy food, take out food online, everything. We basically during this pandemic conditioned everybody to pick up the phone or go on your computer and order what you want. So why go to a shopping mall when you don't have to waste your time, looking for a park and then going through the mall and trying? You just go online. Hey, I'm looking for whatever you're looking for, and you order it. I before the pandemic, I really like to touch and feel everything that I was buying. Now I actually do buy things online, as long as it's not anything to do with clothes. I do buy it, and
I hear you.
And so they lost me as a bit of a clientele coming into the mall. So they've coming up with this thing that they're going to put high rise condos. Probably build on top. And I think it's a great idea. You know what I mean? Because you're still within the urban boundary. Like you're still within the hustle and bustle. You're not in the outskirts or the downtown. You're going to be in areas where, and you just have to go down the elevator and you're probably in the shopping mall. You can get whatever you want. It'll help the mall, and then it also help the economy. You're building condos and more taxes for the city. I think they have to go that route. There's no choice. Otherwise, these shopping malls are going to just be big, empty parcels of land.
It's going to be a while, though, before we know whether the experiment works, right? Because they've got to build the things, and then they've got to get people to move in, and et cetera, et cetera. So, as great of an idea as it may be, it's still going to be a little while down the road. Yeah,
it's going to be, I'd say, 5 to 10 years before we see the first one go up. And it's probably closer to 10 years. Because they got to get the zoning, they got to get the approvals, and then who knows what, they got to start, where do you put the underground parking? Because you can't have them park in the parking lot where the shopping mall is. You're going to take up a lot of parking spots. But I think it'll be easier, though, for people visiting that people that own condos in these shopping mall areas, because you can park outside, go shopping, and go visit your friends or family. And I think for parking wise, I think it's going to be easier if it's done right. And then the people that have the condos, they'll have an underground parking spot for themselves. But I think for visiting people, I think it's going to be a lot easier, because parking is always an issue when it comes to people that own condos. Like when you go visit them, where do you park? You know what I mean? It's there's never enough parking spots, and it's always full. And I truly feel it needs it. I think in Burlington, Mapleview Mall probably could do it, because I know they lost Sears there, but I know they're doing renovations there. Who knows? The Penn Center, there's Lime Ridge Mall, and I think they've expressed a couple of them in Toronto that they're gonna approve. And yeah, I think it's
I mean,
fantastic.
we've seen areas like Niagara Square, for instance, change so radically
Yeah.
from an indoor mall to a bunch of box stores. And what did that do for real estate and the commercial real estate there? I mean, did that make it affordable for stores to get real estate or to rent, or is it does that take it out of the realm of the mom and pop shops, and does the commercial real estate become so expensive that only the big box stores can afford it?
Yeah, well, Costco ended up getting involved in that Niagara Square deal there. So now all of a sudden, any new leases coming up in there, guaranteed they're not going to be paying what they were paying before, because now they're getting the traffic. And then the south end of Niagara Falls is the area that's being developed massively. There's a lot of development. They're gonna even put a hospital there that is close to Fort Erie, and Welland is just not too far from there. And so, yes, commercial real estate is going to it is more expensive there now, and it is getting more expensive. And it's just because everything's moving towards that way. And so it's you get a big box store like Costco in an area, you change the dynamics of that area. Like, you change the economic ways. You got a lot of developers are building out there. It's starting to grow really nicely out there, and every city and town is doing that.
Yeah, does that mean the areas around someplace like Costco in Niagara Falls and that whole development around there, does that mean all the residential real estate prices are going up? Does that drive up that local real estate a lot?
It drives up the real estate in price just like anywhere else, but there's more demand with developers going out in that area. Just like for instance, look what happened at 50 Road there with the Costco there. Look at the development that's happening around there. It's just dwarfed to such massive area, and there's a couple of parcels of land that are empty right around there that they're looking at building another high rise there. It's a work and live place right around the Costco development there in Winona, and you go anywhere where there's big box stores. You get a Walmart, you get a Costco, you get everybody that's going to follow along, and people want to live there. They want to live nearby because they can just go there, get all their stuff, and they're not too far from their house. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of changes in the next 20 years. I'd say every 20, 25 years, it changes. Just like the malls to the box stores to just different ways, from the downtown to the malls to the box stores. Who knows what's next? Maybe there's not going to be as many stores, and because everybody's going to be shopping online, so they'll have to change those commercial properties into something else.
Boy, it just, everything is in a state of flux. But I've got a story that goes back a few years. This will, for those of you who bought real estate many years ago, this will ring a bell, because there was a question to you that says, "Dear Rob, we built our home in 1971, and a few years later we had urea formaldehyde foam insulation, UFI, installed because the government had a program to pay for it. I have no plans to leave the house, but given my age, I want to keep my affairs in order. Is there anything I should tell my grown kids about urea formaldehyde insulation?" What do you tell them?
Well, back when I first started in real estate, urea formaldehyde, they call it UFI in short form. When I first started in real estate, if the house had that, nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted it. And so you had to disclose on every offer. It says in there that this house does not have urea formaldehyde insulation. But now what's happened especially in the last 10 years, some agents haven't checked it off. It does have UFI. And so people own houses right now that they bought in the last 10 years probably have urea formaldehyde insulation, and they don't know it. But here's my thing about this. I don't even know why they have it in the offer of purchase and sale. It shouldn't even be in there, because this UFI was put in like 40 years ago. Now it's dormant. There is no what do you call it, vapors of it anymore. It's just
Right.
it's dead. It's dead. So if you have a house like that, don't be cautioned about it, because it's not going to affect you, because there's urethramide in cars that you buy, carpets that you buy. So you know how you get that new car smell, or that new carpet smell, or that new paint. There's more toxins in that than there is than this insulation. So before, yes, it did affect the price. Today, it does not. Every house that they do a test with this urethramide insulation that's in these houses, it usually the reading is no different than a house that didn't have it. Now, back in the 60s and 70s, the government did come out with a program to, if you put this insulation in, we're going to pay most of it, pay for it, and then give you some tax breaks and stuff like that. Well, then after they found out it was toxic, and so everybody had to take it out. Now, every so often, this is another thing, vermiculite insulation. They did the same thing. We got vermiculite insulation, and now it's like a lot of people have vermiculite insulation in their house. They don't have that clause in the offer, but that's even worse than urethramide insulation. So I don't know who's sitting at the Ontario Real Estate Association. They should change some of these clauses. But yeah, I don't think you have to worry about UFI. A lot of houses out there, a lot of the newer realtors that came into the business probably don't even know what it's about, and they probably didn't check off that the house had UFI. But there's nothing to worry about urethramide insulation. But it's just an insulate. But when you first got it, the toxins were pretty bad. They were pretty bad. So you had to be careful.
And that's still on the books, right? You have to tell people about UFI, right?
That's
still on the books.
It is still on the books, and I always look at the previous listings. And sometimes, if you look at the history of a house that you're putting up for sale, you might go back 20 years and say, "Hey, all of a sudden this house had urethramide insulation," and then somebody checked off, "No, it didn't have it." Like 10 years after that. So then everybody follows the previous agent's listing information. But if you look back in history, you'll see some houses that do have it, but the current owner has no clue it has it in its house. And usually they're houses that were built like in the 60s. And you know how you can tell if you have it? You see real round plugs around the house, like in the brick. If you see drill marks all the way around, it's because what they did is they drilled in, and then they put a tube in there and filled it up with this foam insulation, and then they plugged up the brick hole. Or even if it's a sided house, or if it's a wood house, again, you would see holes around the house. I remember there was an agent on my team years ago, and I said, "Hey, I noticed your house has all these little plugs around it. I think you got UFI insulation in there." She goes, "No." I go, "Yeah." I go, look at all the plugs around the house. And she got nervous. And I don't know. She didn't say she had it. She didn't say it didn't have it. I just let it go the way it is. But she wasn't happy when I saw that on her house. But anyway, that's UFI insulation, guys. And but nothing to fear about. That's old stuff, and it's dormant, and it's not going to affect you at all.
There you go. A question to Rob. And of course, you can ask a question too. You can go to his website, and that's robgolfi.com. Ask a question, and maybe next week we'll have the answer for you. And as always, listen every week for the show. You'll learn more. You'll get more insight into the real estate business, whether you're looking to buy or sell. And of course, you can always call them to find out more about your questions too. You call the Golfi team at 905-641-0308 or robgolfi, GOLFI.com. Thanks, Rob. We'll talk next week.
Thank you. Take care.